Lally ho, and welcome to
Hi.
another episode of Sharlayan Dropouts. I'm your host, Archon Victor Hunter. And I don't know about you, but I've got canned heat in my heels tonight. And with me, as always, is my lovely co host, also wearing her dancing shoes, Archon Nadia Oxford. How the hell are you, Nadia?
Cats adopting cats, mass hysteria. You know that bit in The Amazing Gumball where the mom cat, they're anthropomorphic cats, they go to a pet store and they
Yes,
see
of
an
course.
actual cat. And, like, I know, sweetie, don't think about it because the son is so disturbed by the sight of this
classic, classic cartoon conundrums.
cat.
Yeah. It plagues us all. I mean, there's an episode of Pokemon where they look out the window and see real fish. Um,
Oh my
there's
God.
um, yeah, it's only exacerbated in 14 by the fact that the minions are stylized cats and except are supposed to be treated as real cats. So they're like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean when I say that?
I, I've
like,
I've noticed. Okay, so as a nerd who loves cats, I've kind of noticed that let me know if my gain is too high, by the way. I've kind of noticed that in Eorzea, cats are extremely rare, barely mentioned. It's all curls, right? I have a black curl, you have a curl kitten. Whereas you go to the
yes.
New World, and suddenly there's a shitload of cats everywhere, and they're cats. C-A-T, cat.
Okay. This is something I haven't noticed before. You're
Oh,
absolutely
really?
right. Yeah. Yeah.
There
Uh,
is one exception, the fat cat, who
the
was
fat
considered a
cat.
void scent.
Right. Yeah. Because usually they just sort of like replace the word cat with coral.
Coral, yeah.
So
Yeah, there's like a
from,
couple of mentions, but that's it.
yeah. So from whence comes the distinction between cat and coral?
I've been trying to figure that out. I've been up for weeks trying to figure that out. Could be a trick of the language, but of course, a coral will grow up to be theoretically a big cat that will paralyze you and probably kill you.
Sure. I'm
Interesting, though, isn't it?
I'm okay. I'm putting this on my list of questions to ask if I ever get the opportunity. This is going in there. This is an important lore distinction
I
that
agree.
I think I need to confront Koji or Kate with at some point.
Oh man, I'd love to confront Koji. I think we'd vibe.
I think so too. I think you two would get along famously. um Hey, what are we doing here? Uh,
Yeah,
well,
good
welcome,
question.
welcome back to another episode of Sharlayan Dropouts. It's a good Final Fantasy 14 podcast for bad academics, and we're back with season 2. And good God, today we're talking our 7.2 impressions. Now we'll touch a little bit on the MSQ, but let's be real, not a ton happening in that right now. This is the point 2 patch is always a bit of a we're setting some stuff up.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to the meat of it soon enough, but for now, I think the main draw has been the Arcadion. So we're gonna get into that, the inspirations behind it, some of those set pieces. Who are these crazy characters,
Who
uh,
are
and
these creatures?
and where did these wild theme songs come from? But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about what we've been doing in game besides new 7.2 stuff. Nadia, have you been up to anything else besides catching up to 7.2?
Well, I finally did I'm almost completed the fates for the Dawn Trail stuff, which is pretty cool. I always like to do the fates and
Oh, you're filling
open
up
up some.
the shared fates
Yeah, you get some good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, totally. You get some real good stuff. You can buy some good materials with those gemstones. You can get some good orchestrion rolls, some good minions. You can sell some of those materials for a heck of a lot of
For
money
a lot
too.
of money.
I
Yeah,
know.
people will pay a lot of money for anything to do with RP about Emmett Silk. So keep that in mind.
That's
That's how
very
you get
true.
rich. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I know you're working towards the what's the gathering crafting mount that you're working towards that needs the
Oh God,
vouchers.
the Ronique.
The Ronique.
Um,
Yes.
the Runique. I had to put that quest aside for a bit because I kind of had to prioritize getting up to snuff for
Sure.
7.2. My
Sure.
eye levels were in the toilet.
Oh yeah.
So basically, I ran the dungeon where you fight the big rabbit. I can't remember the name of that one.
Sure. Yue
It's like
Iwata
it's the lab. Yeah, and
station.
then when the actual 7.2 came out, and I didn't have enough eye levels to do the trial there, I was like, ah, shit. So I basically ran that dungeon a couple times and got
Sure.
better equipment, and yeah, I'm good now.
Yeah. I'm obviously I was very excited when Echoes of Vana'diel came out. Despite running it many, many times, several dozen times, my rolls were consistently crap. I got maybe one orchestrion roll in
Oh,
over 25 or so runs. I still don't have the Shadow Lord minion. I was lucky enough to get the card once, um, but I still haven't managed to complete a full set of the Archangel's armor. But now that the weekly limit has been lifted, I'm gonna hop back in, finish off all those sets. Even though they're gonna be a little outdated compared to some other stuff that I've got, I'll pop those all in my glamour dresser. Have my Archangel outfits already. Um, yeah,
you know, I am not 100. I'm going to sound like a complete idiot here, but I
yeah.
am not 100% sure how to use a glamour dresser. It confuses the hell out of me.
It's not the most intuitive thing in the world.
Right,
They have done things to both simplify and complicate it in recent days.
like they do.
One of the big ones was there are now, instead of putting things in the glamour dresser as individual pieces, there are a bunch of outfits that you can put, so you can like bundle all 5 pieces into basically one slot. Um,
Right.
but yes, you take things, you convert things into glamour dresser items, so it stores them
Mm,
away from everything else. It frees up your
okay.
inventory, um,
Yeah.
and then that whatever's in your glamour dresser sort of becomes the pool from which you can pull items to create glamour plates.
Right.
And you
Okay.
can store, I think, a dozen or maybe 15 glamour plates, and then
Uh-huh.
those become glamours that you can put on anytime. Um,
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't using it properly. I was just kind of looking at it going, duh. Like,
yeah,
as you say, it's not intuitive.
it's not the most intuitive,
Right.
especially compared to things like Transmog in WoW, or even I was playing Xenoblade X, and they also have a system where just once you've received an item, it gets permanently put into your fashion items
Right.
repertoire, so you
That's
can
pretty
pull from
cool.
it whenever you want, which is pretty similar to World of Warcraft. But
Mhm.
yes, there are many reasons that has to do with what's happening on the client side and versus server side, and how and packets going every which way and what have you,
Yeah.
that makes the glamour system a little archaic, a little clumsy. But I don't know, it works for my purposes. It's not the worst. But yeah, why are we talking about glamours? Oh yeah, because I'm finishing my
Mhm.
Archangel set. Um,
Good luck with that.
yeah, thank you. I still have so much FF11 music I need to get. Um, for people who do want to instantly get some 11 music, regardless of where you are in the game, Jonathas back in Gridania, our achievement item distributor,
Oh, that dude.
He has the Mog House theme from FF11 now. So if you are feeling nostalgic for your Mog House, you can now put that in your orchestrion, and
Do they use the Mog House theme from Final Fantasy VII for that one?
no,
Totally different. Okay, totally different.
no, totally different. This is a calm, relaxing, little chill piece of music that feels very much like a companion piece to some of the housing music.
That sounds nice.
But other than that, outside of the digital space of FF14 itself, me and my table have been embracing the world of the Final Fantasy XIV TTRPG. Mentioned a while back that I got my deluxe edition of the standard rulebook. We've had a couple sessions now to play with it, and I will probably do a bigger episode about the TTRPG a little later on.
Makes sense, yeah.
But we're having a good time. Overall, I think that the rules for combat are very specific and are very, I would almost say, err on the side of rigid, and are a little mechanical, which for some people is fun. It kind of makes things more a board game than a role-playing game once you're in combat, because it is it's quite strict. And then on the flip side, when it comes to the role-playing stuff, I feel like there aren't enough rules, and it's kind of more a book of prompts than it is hard and fast mechanical things that you can do.
Fight magic item.
It's more like it provides you some ideas of rule sets, and then also just sort of tells you, but also do whatever you want, which,
Sure.
when it comes to tabletops, is kind of an unwritten rule anyway.
Yeah.
You know, anyone can homebrew anything. A table can play a game as close to the way it was intended or as far away from the way it was intended. And also, it's about a 300 or so page book, and about 100 pages of it is kind of devoted to stuff that's in the lore books already, which I understand why, because it is important lore stuff. You know, if someone isn't already a diehard FF14 player, it's good to have, you know, maps of Ul'dah and Limsa and Gridania and explain who the major players in these places are. But for someone who is already invested in some big hardcover 14 books, there's some redundancies there.
Right. Understandable.
But we're having a good time. I'm tweaking the combat a little bit. I'm finding, you know, what my players enjoy about the game, because I'm GMing, and I'm also, you know, doing a fair bit of writing some connective tissue between the scenarios that they give you.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I think everyone's enjoying the overarching story that I've written for everyone, and everyone's got good, like, fleshed out backstories, and they're all embodying some characters really well. I think I've said before, 3 of the players are familiar with 14. One of those is not familiar with tabletops, and the 4th player is familiar with tabletops but not 14.
Oh, that's an interesting contrast.
Yeah, so she's playing a Viera, a male Viera who is new to Eorzea. So, you know,
that's cool.
can in character not have any idea what's going on.
So it's a good idea.
Yeah, it works pretty well for what we need. But I mention all this because the Game Master Guide has gone up for pre-order, which is going to be the book that really gives GMs a lot more tools. It's also going to basically be the monster manual, and it's going to have a few new scenarios, but provide some more advanced rules for actually building some scenarios with some more structure.
The Bibble. The Final Fantasy XIV Bibble.
Yeah, that'll be out. Tentative release date, I believe, is January for North America. I think it's like April for the UK or something. But anyway, that's up for pre-order. I'm excited about that. I'll talk about it another episode, but I like it. Generally speaking, I think the 14 TTRPG is interesting and fun and gives a good baseline to be able to play an adventure and write
it sounds
scenarios.
It sounds like a good solid start for the module.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So hopefully see improvements from here on in.
Yeah, I hope so. But let's go ahead and get to our main topic. It's 7.2, Seekers of Eternity. We've got new MSQ. We've got new Arcadion raids. Let's touch a little on the MSQ.
I'm going to go on record right now and say Shale's pretty hot.
Yeah.
I really liked her voice.
I like her voice a lot.
Guided.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me.
Yeah.
So I like Dungeon for that reason, but yeah.
She's great.
Good for her.
Yeah, my fiance even said she was watching me play, and she was like, oh, her voice is great.
Do you know off the top of your head who her voice actor is? Because I meant to look it up, but I completely forgot.
I do not know. It's probably someone who's doubling up from another character. I would be very surprised if that's not the case. Olivia Morgan.
She sounds familiar.
She is also Feo Ul from Shadowbringers.
Oh, it's another pretty sizzling character. Just putting that out there.
And she's also the voice of the Eliminator in the final dungeon, the final boss from the final dungeon of Dawn Trail.
Yeah.
No, she's great. Great performance.
As a Super Bullet Will says in the chat, everyone likes Shale. LOL. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like her because she's taking care of Galul Jah, and I like Galul Jah.
Yes.
He, if you recall, is the replacement for his horrible father, and it's a question of how is he going to rule, because he is a good kid, but he also has some problems, like what is going on now, like his commands are being overridden sometimes. He's just like this little kid who's trying to be a king, but he's not very good at it yet.
Yeah, he's just a baby.
He's just a baby.
Yeah.
If anything happens to Galul Jah, I'll past tense myself and everyone in this room. Don't want to get demonetized or whatever the hell happens on Twitch.
Yeah, I don't have particularly strong feelings about where the story is right now, which is fine. Because like we say, we're in the 0.2 patch. Things are just sort of happening to set up some other things. We have been introduced to our villain. Do we want to talk about our villain? Do we have any strong thoughts about our villain and his ambitions?
Yes and no. I think that he might be interesting as a character because he has that tube going into him, and he says like he's not. I don't know what his deal is, but I kind of like the sickly emo My Chemical Romance kind of trope. So I'm happy to just see where this is going.
Sure.
I liked Bitch Fiend, to be honest with you. She was kind of great.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm sad she's gone.
Unfortunately, I was a little disappointed that they're kind of pulling a lot of tricks that they've already pulled before. Like they did this with Asahi, they did this with Solus, they did this with Xenos. Like these are all characters who are like they die at some point, and then the stinger at the end is but
someone's got to be the red shirt.
But maybe they're back. And it just feels a little um, I was disappointed. I was impressed with the end of Dawn Trail and being willing to finish off Endless Fiend and wrap that up. And then to see two versions of her come back it feels a little cheap to me, in the same way that, like, we had two versions of Xenos come back in the Stormblood patches. Like, it's
I forgot about Xenos.
Oh,
To be
yeah.
completely honest with you.
When
The
Xenos-
flower garden, I remember now.
yeah, when he's body hopping all over the place,
Yeah.
and then we've also still got OG Xenos body coming back. You know, they pull this kind of stuff with villains a lot, and it's a little silly. Even like using Fandaniel in Asahi's body as shorthand for you get ready to hate this guy. Yeah, it just happens a lot.
Are you saying it's Asians again? Are we talking about Asians again?
No.
It's always Asians,
No.
except when it's not.
I think we know that it's not Asians.
Yeah, I'm just kidding around.
Oh,
but
okay.
it'd be funny if it was.
Oh boy,
Oh,
would it?
and it's not the fact.
But yeah, the I think having the two Sphenes was fun for a little bit. I love having, you know, Sphene back. We have our undercover royalty in our FF9
I love
themed zone.
her outfit.
Her outfit's
By the way, that was
incredible.
brilliant.
With the
I love that.
hood,
The
you know,
hood.
very, very Garnet as Dagger.
Yeah,
When,
which
when,
I'm happy to see her.
when they were saying that, when they were distinguishing between the three Sphenes and told our new Sphene that, well, we have to come up with a name for you to distinguish you, I was like, call her Dagger, just do
Call her
it,
Garnet,
just do
call her
it.
Garnet. Yeah, I was kind
Um,
of sad that they didn't do that, but I'm glad I'm also glad she's her own character. That's the thing I do like about FF14 when they do make these references. Usually, they do something to really distinguish. Like, I mean,
yeah,
what they did with shoot, I can't remember her name. I completely blanked on it. The general Beatrix. What they did with Beatrix, for example.
Zelenia, yeah.
Zelenia.
Which is a nice mirror to Otis and Steiner. Yeah, it's the illusion is there, but it's not beating you over the head with remember this?
Remember this? Remember berries? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the dungeon was lovely. I thought the music was great.
Yeah, I ran the dungeon several times to get my eye levels up, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the bosses were because they were. I liked the first boss. It was like that big ant that used the whole arena to its advantage, like the whole
Yeah.
sand and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the last boss was just like a square, and it's like, okay, whatever. But
Well, I mean, that's an FF9. That is that's one of the iconic FF9 bosses.
it's
that
been a long
like-
time since I played 9.
Yeah, it's this beautiful monolith with this gold filigree, and it looks like some kind of holy stained glass monolith. And it's of course a device for killing. But yeah,
Device for killing.
I like
The
it.
killing device.
I like it a lot. I'm glad they. What's it called? I'll remember the name for it. Name's not important. It's cool. And then yes, our trial with Zelenia. I had a tough time with this.
I did too. I died several times, and I got no commendations for that. I'll tell you right now. I did not get commendations on trials.
I've been playing most of this patch as healer for my first time runs, and it's been very fun. That meant that Zelenia was pretty intense. It was a lot of Super Bullet Will mentions that it is a very busy fight
It was
visually.
very busy.
And
I had someone who was a summoner, and they kept summoning Titan. Couldn't see shit because Titan was my face.
oh, you gotta shrink that. You can do that on your
I
end.
know,
Yeah.
but I like the monsters too. It's my fault. Like, ooh, cool. Hi, Bahamut.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really fun. It took us maybe 4 tries. Just
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, in my duty finder. Um, but I think I got like 5 comms at the end of that. It was a good
Ah, of
one.
course it
It was one that I screenshotted because I felt so good about it.
did.
Um,
I mean, I always give my accommodations to like tanks or healers.
yeah,
When
yeah,
when I get accommodation as a DPS, I'm like, oh, cool, thank you.
yeah.
I don't deserve that, but thank you.
My priority goes to uh, healer that resed me. Um,
Want to save my
then
life.
down to like I have sort of a gambit system order of operations in my head. There's like specifically seeing tanks do something very considerate and impressive. I'll usually
Something, yeah,
notice.
heroic.
Yeah. I mean, by default, if healer LB3s and saves us all, that's
Yes,
where they're all going.
that's an instant.
And then as we get a little bit further down, that turns into healer or tank with the best glamour, and or no, healer or tank with the best adventurer plate, then healer
Yes.
or tank with the best glamour, then best overall adventure plate, then bottom is best glamour. And then if no one meets any of those criteria, I'll just hand it out randomly.
There you go. So dress up nicely when you're in a raid because
Yes.
you might be being judged by Victor.
Yeah. You never know.
Never
What's
know.
the saying? There's some saying about, I don't know, even going out to get groceries dressed nice because you never know who you'll run into.
There you go. The queen might come by.
Yeah.
Oh wait, she's dead.
Yeah.
The king might come by.
I'm 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 like the X that you're hoping you don't run into at the grocery store while you're wearing your sweats.
Like while you're wearing your pajama bottoms.
Yeah. All right. Arcadion. We've got
How much do you know about wrestling anyway, Victor?
I know dick all about wrestling, Nadia. I hand the show off to you. I by the grace of God, take it away. I know very,
Well,
very,
first
very
of all,
little.
how do you feel about the raid series as someone who doesn't really know much about wrestling?
Oh, okay. Well, I will say that I know enough about wrestling. I know
Okay.
faces and heels and your baby face and your turns and what's the when they do the backroom camera and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all like
the
I
back
totally
alley. Yeah.
totally get all of these references to the form.
Right,
Um,
right.
and I also recognize that wrestlers always have theme songs that are other songs with the serial numbers filed off. Um, so I
Soaking specialty. I love
yeah,
him.
totally. But tell me a little bit about what you've sort of discussed because I know your husband is big into wrestling as
Yeah.
well. So I'm sure you two have talked through a lot of what these references are and specific sort of allusions that we're getting. So go for it.
Yeah, so here's my position on wrestling. I absorb most of it through osmosis through my husband David because
Hmm.
he's a big fan of both AEW and WWE.
Hmm.
I also watch Botchamania, so anything that's going on there is what I know about the storylines.
Okay.
So, but I am kind of a sicko for the politics behind the scenes and the exploitation of wrestlers. This might be because, I'm Canadian and as I said, my husband was already a fan of wrestling, but Chris Benoit, he who shall not be named, like was a very, very big deal here. Owen Hart
Ah,
dying was a very
right,
big deal here. And
right.
I mean, yes, we have an honest like Canada US war kind of going on here, but back in the 90s, kind of had that going on too with wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so the thing that stands out to me is that I mean, do you know about the first of all, Hulk Hogan is a shithead who was a union buster, and
Yeah.
you know
Real piece of crap.
he real piece of shit who
has
busted the
done
unions.
irreparable damage to games journalism.
He took away our vagina bones.
Yeah.
And then you had like Jesse Ventura, aka you, who was like trying to unionize and help everyone. And so what you have going on in the Arcadion is wrestlers who are addicted to, let's call them steroids, because this is just an analog for the 90s steroid controversy that Vince McMahon weaseled his way out of.
Right.
And so you have what you have here is like souls, the feral souls, which they imbue to become wrestlers, and like they're strong and they fight and they're like monsters and shit like that. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Except it's doing damage to their bodies and minds. I think it's called psychonecrosis, like psychonecrosis, something like that.
Psychonecrosis, yeah.
Yeah. And the more they use their feral souls, the worse it gets. And we're at the point in the story where Black Cat, who's the girl we fought at the end of the last tier of raids, she's with us, kind of helping us out because if she transforms.
She was our first. Black Cat was our first fight.
Was she our first? That's right. Okay, yeah,
Black
I'm
Cat's
sorry.
first
Yeah,
fight.
You're right. But
yeah, the Ixion girl was our last fight.
Oh, right, the hot girl who comes back in this tier of raids.
Yeah.
Basically, we're at the point where you have a lot of the wrestlers at this point who are just like, we are getting the psychonecrosis. If we keep wrestling even like a couple more matches, we could probably die.
Yeah.
And it was really, really sad about this arc. This is what we're getting into. Have you ever seen The Wrestler?
No.
It's a very, very good movie. Wrestlers have different opinions on it, but it kind of gets one thing across that happens to wrestlers, and that is if they are out of the spotlight, they tend to go downhill real fast, and they are often out of the spotlight because injuries, drug addiction.
Yeah.
So you have, Mick Foley, of course, right? Like,
yeah.
My God, that man was broken in half. So he's like hardcore. He's obviously probably in pain every single fucking day of his life. But something he said once really stuck with me, and this was after he watched The Wrestler. He said, the thing that kills wrestlers is if they don't have anything but the ring. Like, he said, I have writing, so I can do whatever I want, and I'll be okay. And I noticed in this particular arc, you're trying to get these people to stop wrestling because, hey, there's a good chance you could die if you do this. And this is what you and Black Cat are trying to tell your friends, like Honey Be Lovely, God bless her.
Yeah.
And so they tell, for example, Honey Be Lovely, hey, this is going to happen if you keep wrestling. And Honeybee is like, oh, well, that's a shame. But you know what? I got my fans. I can do anything I want, and I'll be okay. And she quits, no problem at all.
Yeah.
And some wrestlers can do that because they have their movies, they have their other stuff going on.
Right.
But the tragic part of this wrestling arc is you have the Brute Bomber, who loves kittens, by the way. And once you see the kittens are surrounding a guy, you know he's going to die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just the way he goes. And what's his name? Howling Blade, who's a Mikote. I forget what the kind of Mikote are in that particular region, but they all kind of are like those indigenous people who don't use regulators. And this results in this character, the Howling Blade, who grew up in Arcadion, he grew up in Solution 9 without a regulator. So he was given all these like really boring ass jobs because they're like, well, you got one life to live, so go live your dull ass life. And he kind of started to resent it, and he got roped into fighting for the Arcadion, which alongside the Brute Bomber, because they had no direction in their lives. And his whole song, when you fight him, because he is the last boss on the tier, his whole song is about how he couldn't find a place to fit in, so he was corralled into this wrestling life, and he learned to love it, and it was the only thing he started to live for. So thankfully, I'm glad that this happened, we do rescue him. We do get him out of his death spiral, literal death spiral, and he's like, okay, I'll help you, and I'll avenge the Brute Bomber, who did go down that path into steroid mania, the necrosis. He fights you to the death. He turns into like this horrible chimera because he infuses all these souls, like a Catoplast thing. He dies because he doesn't know anything else. He's like, well, the manager is right. The manager is everything. And the manager in this particular raid, who we have not seen yet, is obviously Vince McMahon. He's the
Yes.
one distributing the steroids.
Yeah.
He's the one getting really pissed off because you're Jesse Venturing everyone in the arena. And here's the kicker. I love this. When he Phantom Vince McMahon, who by the way had a whole bit about being the Phantom DM behind the scenes. It's me, Austin, blah blah blah.
Right,
And
right.
then so
Yeah.
his condition, he kidnaps your friends, and he says, my condition is just you stick to my script. And that is the most Vince McMahon ass thing
Right.
in the entirety of the world.
Yeah.
His whole thing was the script, to the point that he was just cratering the fucking company.
Right.
So this is just really fascinating. I'm really curious to see where this is going. But yeah, I'm really liking this arc.
Cool. That's so not knowing that much about the politics behind it, I don't think I realized it was as biting a commentary as it actually is. I recognized the general sports side of it, where people are made to push their bodies to physical extremes for the entertainment of everyone else, and then
Yeah.
unless you are a major name who can sign a bunch of deals, you are kind of left to fade into obsolescence, and you're lucky if you made enough money to pay for all of the health care that you will need as you get older.
Doesn't happen because they were not unionized, because
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan's a dickhead.
Yeah.
And when you are with them, you have their medical team, which will tell
Yeah.
you, oh, you can fight, it's okay.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And Super Bullet Will brings up a good point that in the chat. Sugar Riot, who's great by the way. When I walked into that green room, I saw her tagging the floor. I'm like, oh yeah, high school. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. She's great.
I never saw someone tag the floor, but I did walk into a classroom and see two guys fighting, and one pushed the other into a window and it broke. That was great. It just reminded me of that. So, yeah, when she's told you have to quit, she's like, oh, well, I have my art. And Dancing Green, who's incredible, by the way, is like, oh, this is actually a good opportunity because I'd like to dance for myself again.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen to Brute Bomber and Howling Blade.
I do also really like that in the first round, the fight with Brute Bomber in the first set of these matches, he has that whole thing where he takes a performance enhancer in the middle of the match and then kicks the ref out, and in this you discovered that's part of the act, that's part of his persona, but it is also sort of a smokescreen for the fact that he is actually doing
a work and a shoot at the same time. In fact, when I saw that happen, I'm like, is this a work or a shoot? Because my husband taught me those words.
Okay, what are those? What does that mean?
Okay. A work is when when Brute Bomber hits the referee, or is that real? Is that part of the story, or is this guy getting pissed off and is actually angry and it's fun? I don't know if you've ever seen the CM Punk pipe bomb, but he just basically sat down in the middle of the ring and told Vince McMahon what he thought, and that was a shoot. He was as far as I know genuine about that, but they turned it into a work. So as my husband says, there's a expression it's a work, and if it's a shoot, it's still a work, something like that.
Right. So the work being what is played and possibly part of the script, and is part of the persona, and then the shoot can be a genuine thing that happens, but to maintain verisimilitude compared to everything else, it has to in some way get converted into a work to not break the illusion.
Basically, it's athletics combined with theater. That's all it is. That's
totally.
Yeah. This kind of wrestling is.
Yeah.
So I think they really nailed that well in this arc.
Yeah.
There is actually a really, really funny moment too in this latest Brute Bomber fight, where he has some theme songs. Of course he does. All the theme songs go hard, and his is kind of a mush of yelling and screaming. I think Koji Fox came back for that one.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, you hear a bleep. They cut out some swear word, and it's just exactly the kind of thing that you would have if you bought wrestling cut, from the 90s or whatever, all the theme songs and shit they did back then. And it's I don't even know what the word was. I don't even know if it was a real word, but you just hear a beep.
That's fantastic.
And it's just That's amazing. I love that.
I've only been able to run these once so far. So over on our Discord, which you can get access to at patreon.com/bloodgodpod for only $1, we ran all of these in a row on Saturday. And so because of that, I didn't get to listen to the music as much as I
Mm.
normally would have.
Yeah, that's
Um,
I love that part of the raid. That's why I always do them, like
yeah,
myself, to be
I'm
honest.
I'm very excited to go back. 'Cause well, let's start from the top. You mentioned
Yes.
Dancing Green. Let's talk a little bit
Yes.
about Dancing Green and the influences and the music behind Dancing Green. What did you pull from this?
I mean, I love disco. I don't
Hmm.
see how anyone could not love disco. It's like hating percussion.
Yeah.
The thing that got me laughing my ass off in this fight was the spotlight, where first I'm thinking, oh god, I gotta avoid the spotlight, it's gonna burn me, and then you die instantly if you're not in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So you got to go to the spotlight, and he starts dancing to the music, and I just laughed my ass off at that.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
The you get a countdown timer, and by the end of it you have to be standing in the spotlight or you'll
Yeah.
get hit. And if you are in the spotlight, you do a very excellent emote that I think is just perfect, and I cannot wait. They're probably going to put it on the cash shop, let's be real, but
I'll buy it.
yeah, I'd buy that. um
He's huge Daft Punk, as people are saying in the chat, even though the best Daft Punk album ever written is the Alexander Raids. So we have
oh
Soken going back to some
oh I
some good beats there.
I wouldn't get Daft Punk from Alexander.
Really? Not even like
Yeah.
forward and back and then forward and back.
I mean, how maybe a little bit, but only because it's got that like vocoder sound to it.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
this is true like French house. This is
yeah.
this is new disco. This is um the synths are on point for like 90s French house. Truly, this is Daft Punk. This is Breakbot. This is all of these French DJs
I was
who
listening to techno in the 90s. Usually
sure.
Canadian
I
techno.
bet. I bet. But then, musically, it's pulling from more modern disco. But
Yeah,
then Dancing Green's, all of his abilities are very 70s disco. This is classic stuff.
yeah.
We've got Disco Infernal. We've got Celebrate Good Times.
Oh, great. I love that one.
What
So great.
are what are some of the other ones? Anyway, I can maybe try and pull up a list of them, but they're all, of course, references to disco hits from the 70s. And
Yeah.
you bring up why anyone could ever not like disco, and I also don't get it because I've always loved disco. But let's be real. It was homophobia and racism.
Yeah,
uh,
seriously, because it's like that
yeah.
happens a lot in music. Like I learned that square dancing was because Ford, as in the guy who made the Found on Road Dead cars, like
Uh-huh.
thought that jazz was a conspiracy by black people and Jews,
Oh
so he
yeah.
made square dancing instead.
Oh
Okay,
totally.
here's lame dancing. You don't want the cool dancing, you want the lame dancing.
Yeah. It's truly, it all. 'Cause disco and funk are so closely tied, and like jazz fusion and all of this goes to Black African American music coming up in the mid-century and people feeling threatened by it. Um, so what better way to get people to avoid it than either tell them that it's gay to like it, and that it's not
It's
real
gay to like good
music.
music, everyone.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe it is. Maybe it's gay to like good music. That's okay.
yeah, sure.
It's okay to be gay
Yeah,
and like good music.
there's
No,
nothing
but
wrong with that.
it's
Um,
funny because my father, like, he, of course, is very musically inclined, and he was always just very honest with me. He said, basically, yeah, rock comes mostly from black people, and anything that white people invented from it was either stolen or credited. Like, it's just
sure.
It's not, and it wasn't like controversial. The first time I talked to Americans about it and it was controversial, I'm like, why are you surprised? Why are you angry? I thought it was just the truth.
Yeah.
It's nothing bad or good about it. It's just what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. People shocked of this revelation about square dancing in the chat. I mean, truly,
Oh, sorry.
it is.
Education.
It is. Hey, square dancing ensures that you don't get close to any other person's body. You're not doing any gyration of any sort. It is truly square dancing.
There's enough room between you and your partner for the Lord, I think
Oh, you
the
can fit.
expression goes.
I slap the roof of square dancing and tell you how many Jesuses you can fit between these two dancers.
All the
Because
Jesuses.
yeah, it's wild. So it's also I I also feel this way about the sort of inherent racism in talking about bossa nova as elevator music. You know
Mm,
how like the girl from Ipanema just became like the butt of a joke for so long through like the 90s and 2000s. It was like, oh, that's elevator music. When no,
right.
it is a rich genre that has strong roots in other cultures, and we just sort of turn it into the butt of a joke. Same way we did with disco for so
Yeah.
long. So
It's too easy, unfortunately.
yeah,
But disco rules. That's all I gotta say.
disco's
And
fantastic.
Disco
Yeah,
Green's a frog. Dancing
yeah,
Green's a frog. He's a jumpy frog.
yeah.
Very cute.
I guess the frog motif is just legs,
I
powerful
didn't
legs.
notice him like jump very high. I thought, oh, okay, he's gonna like clear the screen or something. But
Yeah,
maybe he just likes frog legs.
did not do a lot of jumping for being a frog. I can't help but think that theme was a little undercooked. But and his design I don't love. His
You don't
legs
love
are
his design?
awful. His I mean,
Oh, are you talking about pre-transformation or post?
well, post transformation, the
Oh,
like
okay.
veiny legs and like gross feet.
Maybe he's just got a fetish. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. He wasn't my favorite either. I thought he was
Yeah.
cute without the transformation.
I also
Like all Vieira.
um I would love a little something closer to Mirror B from Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD. I'm sure someone out there appreciates that reference. Uh,
I do not know.
Mirror B was a disco-themed boss, a recurring boss in the GameCube Pokemon RPGs, and both of his appearances in both games had incredible theme songs.
Mm,
I think his theme song in I think Coliseum was more of like Latin American. It was a little more like, I don't know. I want to say like, hey, I don't know. I'm not gonna try to guess. I'm just gonna
all
let
right.
people look it
That's
up
the
and
way.
decide for themselves because I don't have the vocabulary for it right now.
That's okay. Super Bullet Will says a lot of people appreciate that reference. So good job.
And then his appearance in Pokemon XD was they doubled down on the disco theme. He's got a big Pokeball afro. You've maybe seen
Yeah,
him out
I've
in the
seen
world.
him.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
He was
Um,
awesome. I love that design. That's hilarious.
yes, he's great. And then he gets a very funky theme song. Yeah, and who were you mentioning had like David Bowie have had a
Oh,
Bowie riff?
the last song, which is the one everyone's just kind of raving over.
Ah.
It has "This is our last dance." Like it has that in there,
Oh, yeah. Right.
just with a different lyrics, obviously. And you can really here's the thing, like the lyrics are a little bit garbled in this song, but you can really hear that part, the David Bowie part, quote unquote, where you can
Yeah.
hear the lyrics and they're so sad.
Right.
And I would definitely encourage you to go back and listen to that because not just David Bowie, it's also I've heard Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Do you know Two Tribes Go to War? When two tribes go to war.
No, I don't
There's
think so.
definitely influence in there as well.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's just like a great song overall. And then it said, there's also Queen in there because there's always Queen in there.
Cool. Yeah. Yes. Oh, absolutely.
You can always
Um,
count on Queen.
yeah. I knew there's a there's something about the male vocals in Howling Blade's song. I don't know if it's the same vocalist as To the Edge, but
Right.
I think it might be, and I'm so sorry to say I don't care for it. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think it's a combination of the timbre of those vocals with the production of those numbers that feel a little overproduced. And I think in general, I might have brought this up before, but I think that there's a lot of songs with lyrics that could be a little more lyric forward and
I agree. I totally agree with
present
that.
the vocalist a little bit better.
I totally agree with that. I have no argument. Demon says M7 is Soken. I don't know if that was. I think his first name is Charles or Charlie. The guy who did To the Edge. I don't think he was in that because yes, I do. I love some of the lyrics in Final Fantasy XIV's songs. They talk about the characters. They talk about the story. You were supposed to use them to fill in the blanks in many cases.
Sure, yeah.
And the vocals aren't always great. And
Yeah.
I think they are. I'm a very lyric-based person. I would actually like to see them be a little more clear. The part that stands out to me is just that one bit that's really clear and you can hear it. But yeah, the rest of it, I would definitely like a little more enunciation to be clear. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like it's a production side of things. And I feel like sometimes it's an artistic choice where they are deliberately drowning out the vocals so as maybe not to be distracting or to just be there
Titan.
to set a mood.
Titan's a perfect example.
Yeah.
I love that, just screaming Titan, $1 like that's the kobolds just kind of losing their mind, and it's a lot of fun. It's just a fun song.
Yeah.
But I know the production could use a little bit of tweaking, but I still think the last song was just really good because very emotional. Because I like the emotion behind it, I like the lyrics behind it, but it could use a little bit of cleaning up. Yeah. I'd like to see it live. Maybe Koji Fox could sing.
Yeah. I wonder. We'll maybe look up who. Well, I guess we won't know. They're usually pretty good about when they release the soundtracks. They do pretty good breakdowns of who did what on every track. So
yeah,
I'll be interested to learn who did some of these vocals and even who did some of these arrangements, because it's not always Soken. Yeah, and then Sugar Riot.
Sugar Riot's great.
So
tagging the floor.
Yeah, the immediate thing that jumps out is Splatoon.
Yes.
And Splatoon does have a very diverse soundtrack. I mean, it's got pop music, it's got a killer ska song that I just think is incredible.
Does it really? That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and all of the in-game bands that are part of the lore, I think, is really charming about Splatoon.
Yeah, they do a really good job with that.
I don't know off the top of my head what sort of, because this is, I'm sure someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but this feels like a trap beat. This is pretty contemporary trap, hip hop adjacent, and I don't know what the exact real world parallels would be.
Yeah, hip hop as a white chick living in Canada is not my strength.
Sure, yeah, but I do know that of the subgenres within hip hop, there are many, and I definitely feel like this focuses more on the trap side of things.
Yeah, Super Bullet Will says M6 is Creepy Nuts times Splatoon. And K-Dude agrees.
I'm only familiar with the Dan Creepy Nuts. So I don't, that feels a bit Boss Baby to me. That feels a bit getting Boss Baby vibes.
Oh no, Persona 5 Boss Baby.
Because there are much closer analogs to this than Creepy Nuts. but I'd have to do some more research. I appreciate my hip hop, but this sector of it is not my forte.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Brute Abomination, which is just a speed metal. We get that double kick drum that just drives the whole damn thing like crazy. I mean,
That's pure heel vibes.
this gets your pulse going. I think it was someone. This is not my kind of music, and that's okay. But someone who was in our raid, I know, mentioned that as soon as we got in there and there was that kick drum just going absolutely balls to the wall, he was like, "Oh yeah, this is my jam. I know I'm at home here." So hey, I'm happy for the people for whom this does something.
I mean, you have to really hand it to Soken. He's got variety. He knows
Yeah.
how to compose in different genres,
Yeah.
and
Oh, absolutely.
and
I think
the
that's a staple of honestly a staple of Final Fantasy, because Uematsu was always very good at composing in a lot of different styles.
Final Fantasy IX is an example of
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we definitely get the prog rock inspired stuff, and then we get Johnny C. Bad, and and so it is. I see 14's embracing of a million different genres as
Mhm.
kind of the ultimate tribute to Final Fantasy's tone and willingness to just combine things from all sorts of genre in every medium.
Yeah, the NK dude
Yeah,
says very new metal post-hardcore. Metal
sure.
is another field where I'm so like I'm really into Ghost,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's not exactly like screaming metal, but that's like it's harder.
sure.
I think the hardest I want to go though is, and you're gonna laugh your ass off, is Nightwish.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
that's as hard as I want to
sure.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my limit.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, I was not. I had a lot of friends who were big into metal in high school. Um,
Same, yeah.
but again, that was a lot of new metal. Like that was some, I don't know, your Slipknots and your Opeths and your uh guess Queensryche. I don't know.
It's been
Um,
a while.
yeah, I don't remember. Again, not my field of expertise, but I'm happy for everyone
Yeah,
that enjoys it. Um, yeah, and
good for
then
you.
yeah, like you say, our last one has some Queen, has some Bowie, has some uh
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I'm gonna sit on that one for a
yeah.
while. See, I don't know anything about music literacy, like absolutely nothing. All I can do is vibes. So if I'm off the mark, by all means, let me know.
um yeah, and
I
then
should get literate.
yeah, I mean, look, I absolutely go to university and study music? Yeah. Do I know much beyond my did I retain much beyond my circle of fifths and my uh, uh, pretty basic music theory stuff? Not really. Hey, I was taught by truly some of the greatest jazz musicians in Canada, and I'm sorry, Steve, but I didn't. I don't remember a lot of it. I was 19. I was under a lot of stress. University's hard. God, if I could
Universities.
go
That's
back.
why I've dropped out. You kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
Ew, this is
Um,
hard. Screw this.
if I could go back, the thing I would focus on the hardest is my music theory classes. Because God, I regret that I haven't retained a ton of that. Um, if only to have extra ammunition when reminding people that Persona 5 is not jazz.
Oh, now we're talking controversy.
I can't believe Dancing Green invented jazz. No, it's not. It's funk. Yeah, anything else we want to touch on about 7.2? There's some other odds and ends. There's been a bunch of little graphical tweaks and updates. I don't know if you noticed, but some of the character models are looking different and better, and there's been
I didn't notice. Who do they repair?
In general, some of the like character creation faces, they have tweaked some more things. I noticed that Black Cat looked quite different from our first encounters. Right. I hear there are some graphical updates to, I think, Stormblood and Shadowbringers zones. I need to double check that. I have some anecdotes about some stuff looking better in some earlier zones, which is stuff that I don't think I saw in patch notes. So if they're just sneaking in some of these graphical updates, maybe it's in there somewhere. But yeah, they are. If you're someone who hates the way your character's face looked after 7.0, there is still hope for you.
You can get plastic surgery.
Yeah.
I do know that I do want that DeLorean mount, which is going to be savage, isn't it?
Yes, that is from Arcadion 8 Savage. So.
Oh man, that's going to be fun.
Well, yeah. You wanna go for it? We can.
I'll run it.
We have a party we can put together. We have a Discord with the express purpose of making sure we always have a group of people to run all types of content with.
Yeah, so I'll probably call on you guys to help me through this.
Sure. It would be a lot of fun. Gosh, is that it? That's all I have to talk about. I don't know.
That's all I got to talk about. Yeah, I got to go play more Cyberpunk because we're doing that Pantheon tomorrow.
Of course. I have to get ready to play through Vagrant Story because hell yeah, I'm going to play through Vagrant Story.
Oh man, you must be like over the moon about this. Yeah, I was just saying that I was going to hopefully get John Learned on the podcast.
Yes. He has.
I so regret not getting him on Retronauts.
Has that excellent article. And I also just listened to your interview with Alexander O. Smith, which was fantastic.
Oh,
and I was
thank you.
So jealous of. Hey,
I'm so sorry.
That's
I
fine.
got you.
No, it's
We're
fine.
in touch, so I mean, some other time for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we can stretch a premise of Dropouts to cover some of his work.
We absolutely can.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be no problem.
So yeah, hey, if you're listening to this over on the free feed, if you are listening to this over on the free feed, or if you're tuning in on Twitch or watching the YouTube VOD or whatever, head on over to patreon.com/bloodgodpod. $1 a month will get you access to our Discord where you can hang out with us and try to finish Arcadion 8 Savage. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. Or look, we've got like 2 or 3 weekly get-togethers with people playing 14. So if we have tons of beginners, we have tons of veterans. It's a wonderful community. I truly am so grateful for them.
We love you.
Yeah, so chip in $1, get access to a pre-built, excellent community of lovely people. And of course, $5, you get to listen to this ad-free. If you're already listening to this ad-free, thank you for the $5. And then
you also get the newsletter.
You get our newsletter. Yes, we have a free newsletter each week and a premium newsletter each week with lovely input from famed video games writer Nadia Oxford.
Who the hell is she?
I don't know.
Sounds like an asshole.
Sounds like a real lovely lady.
Thank you.
$10 gets you episodes like the Pantheon of the Blood God, which our upcoming episode is going to be about Cyberpunk 2077. After that, we're going to be covering Vagrant Story. We have a huge backlog of wonderful games, so check all those out. I don't know. That's my pitch for the Patreon. Anything else you want to add, Nadia, before we get the hell out of here?
No, it was a good pitch. Please support us. We are basically independent, and we rely on your support. If you are sick of trashy games writing, and not to like put down any games writers, I'm just saying that if you try to read an article and your phone explodes because you have 50 ads, if you sign up at the $5 level, you will get that newsletter every week from me. And I have I usually include an essay, I include a song recommendation. So you will absolutely see some 14 stuff in there because no one can stop me.
Sounds good to me. All right. And with that, I'll sign off with what I say at the end of every episode. We do not know, but we will survive. Bye, everybody. I love you.
Bye. You love you.